Everybody good? All right. You just sang a song about the season that we are in, and some of you even wore purple, Miss Sophie. What season are we in? Lent. Thank you very, very much. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about Lent today, even though it is the season that we are in, because it's a very special day in our church. Specifically, not all churches celebrate this day. It's St. David's Day. Did you even know that there was a St. David's Day? I didn't know that there was a St. David's Day until I came to St. David's. I want you all to look up. Hold on one second, Julian. I want you all to look up right past me. See the windows right behind me? Yeah? All right, so we know who's in the middle, right? Who's that? Jesus. Yep. And then we know who is on the left. Do you know who's on the left? There are two people. Who has the harp? Yeah, King David, which makes on the right Saint David. What do we know about Saint David? We're gonna do some fun facts because even I think many of the adults in the room probably don't know a lot about Saint David. In fact, we often confuse Saint David with King David, not the same person. All right, so who is Saint David? Farah. He's a saint, not a king. She's listening. Julian.
He's a king, and
Yeah, there's a lot of and. A lot of searching, right?
He killed a giant.
And he killed a giant, which is what most people want to tell me about Saint David. But oh no, who killed the giant? The king. King David did. So Saint David is just not a saint that people know a lot about. How many of you know about Saint Patrick? Some of you, right? Do you celebrate Saint Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because you're Irish, yes. Even non-Irish people celebrate St. Patrick's Day because St. Patrick got some really good PR managers and everybody knows about St. Patrick. But St. David was born shortly after St. Patrick in about the same area of the world, where we think of Great Britain and Ireland and Wales over in Europe. And did you know that St. Patrick actually had a dream about St. David before St. David was born? St. Patrick, remember, is the patron saint of the country of Ireland. And he was in Wales, another country, and hold on one second. He was in Wales, and he wanted to build a church, St. Patrick, and he all of a sudden had this dream that no, he couldn't build the church where he wanted to build the church because a saint coming later would build a church there, and that ended up being St. David. We know some things about St. David, but not a whole lot, so I'm going to tell you some of them. St. David was born, his great-grandfather was a king, so he had kind of a certain, je ne sais quoi about him. He was born into a family of royalty, but his mother was a nun. I'll let you all stew on that. That's a story for another day. But his mom was a nun, and it's said, and this is the part that we're going to talk about in a minute. It's said that he was born, the night that he was born, there was this great, huge storm. Now remember, Great Britain, Ireland, Wales, these are all kind of islands, right, surrounded by the sea. And there was a huge storm the night that he was born. Lightning, thunder, the earth split. I mean, not just like a little thunderstorm or even a little snowstorm, but we're talking like shake the earth kind of storm when he was born. And there was a church that was built in that very spot that you can still go see the ruins of today. You can see, you're looking at my cheat sheet, and that is the cathedral that was eventually put up in honor of St. David, where he had. It does not look like our church. It's much bigger than our church. I want you to look up at the window a couple of things that you're going to notice on the St. David side. Do you see on his shoulder? What's on his shoulder? A dove. Why do we think he has a dove on his shoulder? How many people? Yeah. Do you remember, Anderson? No. It's a hard one. Not a lot of us walk around with doves on our shoulders, right? But it was said that he had such a good preaching voice that occasionally when he would go out to preach, a dove would come and light on his shoulder to show everybody that he was one of God's favorites, and that in fact, sometimes when he was out preaching, the road or the ground would rise up underneath him, and a mountain or a hill would come up that would push him up high enough so that everybody could see. What do you think about these stories? They might be fake, say my questioning child. But yes.
Saint David. I have a question.
Yes, what is your question?
Did Saint David kill a dragon?
Saint David did not kill a dragon. That was Saint Michael and the dragon. See, we have all of these great stories of these great men and women over time who both loved God and did amazing things. And so what we did over time was we kind of created stories about them to tell everyone, to give us hope and strength that we could do amazing and hard things too. Hold on one second, okay? Can you hold your question just until we're all done?
Okay.
Thanks. Also,
So going back to the hill thing, I think that God made 2 tectonic plates rise.
2 tectonic plates probably arose to make that hill. It probably wasn't just, right? We have some scientists and realists in our midst, which is totally fine. Did you say, Beth, that it was the meteorological, I butchered that word, say it for me. Meteorological, that just won't come out of my mouth right, but it's the first day of spring also on this day. And one of the primary images that you'll see also up here in the window, do you see them in the window? I see the leek, that's another story, are the daffodils. So do you see daffodils around the church? We don't usually have, but the daffodils are a sign of spring. They're one of the first flowers that come up in the spring, and they remind us always of things that are born out of the cold, dark winter or the storm. So we're going to talk about the storm for a second. How many of you know when you were born? Does anybody know when you were born? Like time, hour of day? Was it sunny? Was it cold? You don't know.
When was I?
I don't remember. Does anybody remember? Yeah. You remember when you were born? Did your parents tell you stories about when you were born? Say that again. You were born in the morning. Mm-hmm. Who else was born in the morning?
Me.
No. Yeah, fair. You were born cranky. This is good to know. Tell me.
Dad told me when I was born, I was so chubby.
Yes, you were a chubby boy when you were born. We were all. So just like St. David has great stories about, we have all of these great stories about St. David, your parents probably are sharing some pretty great stories about you too, right? Now, we weren't all born in a storm. Hold on, Julian, hold on, my friend. We weren't all born in a storm like St. David, but we all live through storms. There's a little stormy weather out right now. The sun is shining, but the world is experiencing some storms right now. And we all live through hard and difficult times, right? I want to share with you something that St. David said and preached right before he died, the very last thing he told all of the people that he was with. And I'm going to give this to you because I think it's super important to remember this. This is the thing that I love the most about St. David. Do you see these? What is this? That's the daffodil, right? And on the back of the daffodil, hold on one second. On the back of the daffodil, I wrote a couple of things that he said in his last homily or his last sermon. And it was this. Oh, sorry, Farah. It was this. He said, be joyful in the storm, be faithful, and do the little things. Okay? So what does that mean? Jerome, would you like one, my friend? Yeah? What does that mean? Here you go, Helene. What does that mean to be joyful when it's storming, Sophie? It's storming outside, but you're still joyful. Does that mean that you're not paying any attention to the world? No. What does it mean? Can you be joyful in the midst of a storm when things are hard? What does that look like? What does that look like, being joyful in a storm? Anderson? You can be playing in a muddy puddle, figuratively or physically, yes. It doesn't mean that you don't see the storm, right? You see that it's stormy out, you see that life is hard, but still you realize that you have the ability to be joyful. Yes. You can believe, you can trust, and you can hope, right? And just by doing those things, you weather the storm and you help other people through the storm, right? Being faithful is part of that. What does it mean to do the little things? What does it mean to do the little things?
Do the little things to get it right, and I have two more.
Okay, hold.
I was born in the daytime.
You were born in the daytime,
And I was crying.
and you were crying like many people.
And did she fight all of the... Did she fight
You keep thinking.
a knight?
Did she find a knight?
Or fight the knight?
No, he did not fight the knights. But let's go back to the little things real quick.
I know I was crazy.
In the storm of life, even in the joys of life, do we have to be so amazing and do such great things that people talk about us thousands of years later and make those stained glass windows of us? Do we have to do that, Henry? No. What can we do? We can say thank you. We can say you're welcome. What else can we do? Yeah.
You can do the little things that are still good, but you won't be remembered for seconds.
We can do all of the little things, and probably no one's going to remember them. That is the key. You think that you have to do something huge to change the world, and St. David reminds us that it's in the small things, it's in the small kindnesses and loving care of each other and the world that we change the world just as much as the big things, if not bigger. So some of you might end up doing some really big things, and I bet you will. But remember, it's important every day to do the little things, okay? Can you remember that? Yes? No? Maybe so. All right, my friends, thank you for coming up. Thank you for joining me up here.